clung to their drivers' title hopes, the competitors themselves once again waited out the rain at Charlotte. When the green flag dropped, the action was furious and dangerous.
Oh, big trouble on the front stretch. 5-6 cars involved. Kevin Harvick's in it. Ward Burton, Ricky Craven, Robbie Gordon.
The lights came on. The laps wound down. History was being made. 26-year-old Jamie McMurray, in just his second NASCAR Winston Cup start, was running away from the field. 2 weeks earlier, few had heard of the Missouri native. Now everyone watched the youngster lead nearly all of the evening's final 100 laps.
He'll do it! 26-year-old Jamie McMurray pulls off the victory in just his second NASCAR Winston Cup start. Unbelievable!
No driver in NASCAR's modern era had ever visited victory lane so quickly.
I don't believe it. I mean, you're not the only one, pal. Oh, I know. This is huge. You know, this is a tough opportunity, or a really hard situation with Sterling getting hurt and everything, and he's been great to me, you know, having to sit out, but what an opportunity. Chip and Felix and Coors Light, Haviland, what an opportunity y'all gave me. Everyone asks me, am I nervous? I'm freaking nervous. I promise you guys right now, I'm nervous.
Entering the final 5 weeks of the 2002 season, fatigue was taking its toll. The cruel math of October continued to eliminate title contenders. Many teams began to shift their focus to the future, while others simply prayed for a quick and painless season conclusion. Martinsville is a classic short track. Aerodynamics mean much less than a strong front bumper and a well-placed shot at a left rear quarter panel.
Final shot, final corner. Benson can't get close enough. Winston Cup win number 2 for Kurt Busch. He takes the Old Dominion 500.
In just his 5th trip to NASCAR's oldest track, Kurt Busch outlasted his brakes and Johnny Benson for his 2nd win of 2002. The total opposite of Martinsville is Atlanta. A trip to the 1.5-mile oval means pure, unhindered speed, where the same bumper contact from the week before can mean a sudden 200-mile-per-hour trip into the wall. Few drivers have mastered both types of race circuit. In the span of only 7 days, Kurt Busch manhandled the Martinsville Bull Ring and tamed the Atlanta Tornado, posting back-to-back wins, serving notice that his team would be a major title contender in 2003. Stewart finished 11th at Martinsville, 4th at Atlanta, enough to boost his points lead to 146 over Mark Martin, the largest lead for any driver all season. With only 3 races remaining, the pressure to squeeze the stopwatch for seconds and points began to fall squarely on the shoulders of the pit crews, leaving no room for error inside each heart-stopping 15-second ballet. Down in the pits, they wouldn't have it any other way. Matt Pence's team won Rockingham's World Pit Crew Championship for the 2nd consecutive season, and their Roush Racing teammates carried that momentum into the race. Kurt Busch and Mark Martin swapped the lead repeatedly. They spent most of the day at the front. Tony Stewart struggled on the track and on pit road, allowing Martin to cut his point lead nearly in half. But the day belonged to a former teammate of Martin's, Michigan's Johnny Benson. Benson overtook Busch with 27 laps to go and held off a furious charge from Martin to end a career-long winless drought in his 225th 26 NASCAR Winston Cup race.
Just a great win. I mean, I can't tell you how happy I am for this crew. I mean, not so much myself winning, but these guys deserve it. They work hard, and a lot of guys that were with me at Bahari Racing, we've almost won some, and man, this won't sink in until tomorrow, I'm sure.
Martin's second place run was enough to cut Tony Stewart's point lead to only 87, but only for a day. The left front spring in Martin's car failed to make it through post-race inspection. The result? A 25-point penalty, increasing Stewart's lead to 112 with only 2 races remaining. A poor showing by Martin at Phoenix could hand the title to Stewart 1 week early. Stewart started the day 16th, Martin 7th. Both spent an afternoon in the Valley of the Sun with one eye on each other and one eye on Matt Kenseth. Kenseth streaked to his series-leading 5th win of the season with Rusty Wallace and Jeff Gordon in tow. Martin finished 4th, 4 spots ahead of Stewart, and taking back 23 of the 25 points lost in the Rockingham inspection line. The points chase was now to come down to South Florida, but it would do so by way of NASCAR's version of the Supreme Court.
We think it's important that the sport does not enact a penalty structure that penalizes inadvertent technical violations with no performance advantage at the same level that they penalize people who deliberately alter parts and do in fact obtain performance advantage. So we want to make that point regardless of the outcome.
If Martin's appeal was upheld, Stewart's lead entering Homestead would be a scant 64 points. Appeal denied, Stewart would still need to finish 22nd or better to clinch his first NASCAR Winston Cup title. On a Saturday afternoon at Homestead, Florida, Martin's appeal was denied, meaning Sunday's scenario was simple. Stewart, starting 6th, had to finish 22nd or better to clinch his first NASCAR Winston Cup title. Martin was starting 34th, and he needed to finish 90 points better than Stewart, the equivalent of 25 positions on the track. Behind the title contenders, only 72 points separated teammates Kurt Busch in 3rd and Matt Kenseth in 8th. In the middle of that points battle stood Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman, with the coveted title of Rookie of the Year on the line. Meanwhile, pit road legend Danny Chocolate Myers was going over the wall for the final time, wearing proudly a uniform that he had worn for an old friend. Emotions were high throughout the entire mile-and-a-half facility.
Okay, guys, we've got a lot of ground to make up. Let's get our heads in the game. Focus. This is our last hurrah here. Everybody just do the same job that they've been doing all year. Everything will be just fine.
The South Florida crowd was focused on only 2 cars. The race for the championship was on. Martin quickly began slicing his way through traffic, clawing his way into the top 30, then the top 20. Stewart, on the other hand, was headed backward. If there was trouble on the track, he was sure to be nearby. When Jimmy Spencer spun with 73 laps to go, the Home Depot crew was caught on pit road, losing a lap to the leaders. When John Andretti lost an engine 41 laps later, Stewart dove all the way to the apron to avoid trouble.
Hey, we just got to finish up, and hopefully we can stay out from anything that would happen up front. That's all I'm worried about right now.
In the closing laps, crew chief Ben Leslie had finally hit the setup on Martin's car, catapulting that Ford driver into 4th. But it wouldn't be enough. As Kurt Busch took his 3rd checkered flag in 5 weeks, Stewart streaked across the finish line 18th. His tumultuous year finally finished. The sigh of relief could be heard even over the roar of his Pontiac. Tony Stewart had started the 2002 season in last place. 10 months and 10,000 laps later, he was the champion. The scramble for third in the point standings ended with Kurt Busch on top, followed by Jeff Gordon, who jumped 2 positions with his 13th top 5 finish of the season. Jimmy Johnson finished the year 5th, followed by Ryan Newman. But it was Newman who claimed Rookie of the Year, behind the strength of a series-leading 6 pole positions. Newman's teammate Rusty Wallace finished a disappointing 14th at Homestead, failing to win a race for the first time since the 1986 season. But his final ranking of 7th was his 16th top 10 finish in the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings. As Tony Stewart began to celebrate, the rest of the garage spent a moment to reflect on the season. A season that christened a new generation of racers, that brought new life to a group of longtime veterans. A year that saw 18 different drivers visit victory lanes in 19 different states, in front of more than 4 million race fans. But the time for reflection was brief. Daytona was only 11 weeks away. The clock keeps ticking, and it stops for no one.